Welcome to Betting Weekly Tennis Live, brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Tell us what you think in the comments and follow us on social media. The handle is @BecauseWeWin. And you can subscribe to the Betting Weekly newsletter with picks on various sports from our team of handicappers. I'm Rory Jiwani. With me is Tim Dennis. We've got in-play action from 3 tournaments, although just 2 going on as we speak. The action in Halle is over for the day with Alex Michelsen beating Stefanos Tsitsipas in straight sets. Had one happy bettor who had $6,350 on Michelsen at -132 on the money line. That was a winner. So they've done pretty well today. At Queen's Club, Jack Draper squeezed past Alexei Popyrin in a 3rd set tiebreak. And now home favourite Dan Evans is up against Brandon Nakashima. That one going with serve, 5-all in the 1st set. So it could be a tie break there. And we've got a very dramatic match going on in Berlin between the defending champion Jessica Pegula and 2021 winner Liudmila Samsonova. They're into the 3rd set. Samsonova was leading 4-3. Pegula broke back for 4-all. Pegula's just saved 3 break points and she's just held her serve to go 5-4 up in the decider. She's -225 to win with Bet Rivers. Samsonova +170. Of course, you can bet in play, watch all the action. Tim, finally getting to you, because I think you're looking at the action at Queen's with Dan Evans, but you saw a bit of Jack Draper earlier. How did he look?
Yeah, I mean, he got there in the end. Bit of a slow start, really. He got broken sort of the key area of that 1st set with Popyrin to take it. He had a few break points to take off Popyrin's serve, but couldn't manage to do it. And Popyrin managed to get that sort of 1-all important break in the first set. But I think a good performance to come through in the end. I mean, he had chances before it finished. I think he had a couple of set points at 4-5, I think, with Popyrin serving, and couldn't take them. And then it went to a tie break, and he was a mini breakdown. I think he was 4-1 down in the tie break, but managed to turn that around. So yeah, good performance in the end, and he should be full of confidence going forward. And I think he plays the winner of this match, Evans Nakashima. So you'd like to think he'd take care of either of those, and he should be looking towards, well, certainly at least the semis, if not going further and all the way, I think.
Yeah, Evans Nakashima, as you say, going on right now. Nakashima 30-15 up on serve. Actually, it's just gone 30-all at 5-all. Nakashima -215, and Evans, the British veteran, +160. So those are 2 matches going on right now. They're just about to get underway in Nottingham, the last match of the day there, between Leylah Fernandez and Christina Buxer. In fact, that's just started. Very early stages in that one. Fernandez 40-30 up in the 1st game on serve. She's -250, and the Spaniard Buxer is +185. Tim, just speaking generally, what have you made so far of the grass court season? What we've had a week and a half. Anything you've taken out of the first week or so on grass?
On the women's or the men's side, or either?
Both, either, both.
Well, I guess probably starting with the women. I was lucky enough to be at Queen's last week. Obviously, Tatiana Maria was a winner that I imagine nobody really saw coming. But it just shows you the styles of play, doesn't it? Because, I mean, I was a little bit disappointed with Anisimova in the final. I actually backed her to win the final at the start of the week, so that was a little bit frustrating. I just thought she missed a trick there in not mixing up her game, because obviously she's a very similar player to such as Madison Keys and Elena Rybakina, who she'd already beaten, and she just went out and played the same way and got the same treatment. There was no. I thought if I was her coach, I'm obviously not, and don't know half as much as he does, I'm sure, but I'd have been taking the pace off the ball a bit and almost switch roles, let her become the aggressor, if you like. But obviously that's something she didn't do, and she lost. But I've been quite impressed with Anisimova, though. She started well already this week in Germany. So yeah, I think she's a player to really look forward to going forward, certainly towards when they get back to America on the hard courts as well.
I suppose the big thing with Anisimova is her fitness is always a bit of an issue, but if she can stay fit, I mean, she's up there with the Sabalenkas in terms of ball striking, you know, the Sabalenkas and Ostapenkos of this world. She's right up there, isn't she?
Yeah, I sort of kept a keen eye on her when she came back because she was having those sort of one-set bursts, and you could see the talent was clearly still there, but she wasn't fit enough to if it went 3, she was almost certain to lose in the third, as it happened. I think it happened to Zheng in the US Open. She looked excellent in the first and lost in 3, and a few other times it happened as well. But from what I have seen of her, I think her fitness is coming on leaps and bounds, and I think she's got big goals for the end of the year, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if she fulfills them.
Yeah, so you know, we're looking at women's at the moment, saying that match between Samsonova and Pegula going on, and after that will be the world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka up against Switzerland's Rebeka Masarova, who used to represent
first
Spain.
Game for her, I thought, Rory.
Well, Masarova's a good server, you know, and you know, I remember coming across her a couple of years ago, and she had really good serving percentages a couple of years ago. She's had a bit of a dip since then, but she does seem to be in decent form. So that could be tough. I mean, you know, we talk about, you know, switching surfaces. Obviously, Sabalenka hasn't played since that French Open final. We got Coco Gauff returning to action tomorrow. You know, is there a possibility that these players could get caught cold against someone who's had a bit more grass practice so far?
I mean, there's every chance. I mean, you'd probably like to think that class is going to come through. I looked at their early grass records from previous years coming from the clay, and obviously the routes are different. Obviously, Gauff didn't win the French last year before coming to grass, but they seem to have got through their early rounds fairly comfortably. Sabalenka being the same. Whether they just want to get a couple of games under their belt, because I'm sure Wimbledon is on their minds more than winning this trophy. But they'll certainly like to. I think they certainly want to be winning their opening rounds to give themselves the option of playing a bit more tennis.
Yeah. Pegula's just had a match point and just blown a match point against Samsonova. It's 4-5, the Russian serving, and it's just gone to deuce. Pegula -245, Samsonova +180. Leylah Fernandez has an early break against Christina Buxa in Nottingham. 2-love up in the first set. She's -455, the Canadian, and Buxa +320. And Dan Evans has got a bit of work to do. 5-6. He's serving to take it into a tie break, but it's love 30 in favour of Brandon Nakashima. And Evans currently +$3. Nakashima -435. So Evans with a bit of work to do if he's going to stay alive in that first set. Let's look at some of tomorrow's action. We'll start with the women. Getting us underway in Berlin, we've got Diana Schneider against Marketa Vondrousova. And the former Wimbledon champion beat Madison Keys in straight sets yesterday. She's the underdog here in the battle of 2 left-handers. Tim, I saw Vondrousova beat Keys, who was my outright pick for the tournament. She was solid, but Keys didn't play particularly well, I have to say. What do you see happening in this one?
Well, looking at the market, Rory, I quite like the plus money on Vondrousova. I know what you're saying about the Keys game, and I mean, just having a look at the stats of that, obviously 7-5, 7-6 in a quite tight game, but for a game that's reasonably tight, she was well on top in the service points won and return points won stats. I think she led that 106-94. So for what you think would be a tight game, it might be sort of 101-99. Was that there was a little bit more in it. They've only had the one head-to-head when Vondrousova had to retire in Adelaide, I think it was. But I think even in that first set, and I think a couple of games in the second, Vondrousova was on top of that in the service points won, return points won, 103-99. So I just thought that plus money, having beaten Keys, which should give her a bit of confidence in her fitness, looking hopefully assured. I mean, nothing's certain with her when it comes to that, is it? But and I watched Schneider at Queen's last week, and I was a little bit underwhelmed by her. I thought, I mean, she beat Katie Bolter in the end, but she made hard work of it. And then obviously Keys beat her a couple of days later. So I like Vondrousova here. I thought plus money was more than fair, and I thought Snahider was a little bit short at -139.
Yeah, I have to say, when I saw this priced up, I was surprised that Vondrousova was plus money. I thought it would be close to Pickham. Obviously, her fitness is a factor, and I mean, part of the reason I went for Keys in the outright market was because I still didn't think Vondrousova was fully fit. She did win a couple of matches at Roland Garros, but I mean, she looked okay yesterday. As I say, Keys didn't play particularly well. I think Vondrousova might have to play a bit better tomorrow, but as you say, Schneider's no great shakes on grass. I remember, she thrashed Katie Boulter in Hong Kong last year, and and that was a lot closer when they met last week at Queen's Club.
Certainly didn't look natural to my eyes. And if this was on a hard court, obviously I think Schneider would probably take care of her. But I think on that grass surface, she's probably got the ability to mix her game up a little bit more than perhaps Schneider does. And I thought at plus 112, I thought that was a good place to start.
So there we go. Tim, keen on Marketa Vondrousova in Berlin tomorrow. The other match we're going to look at in Berlin, mentioned her earlier, French Open champion Coco Gauff, her first match since winning at Roland Garros. She's up against Xinyu Wang, who beat Daria Kasatkina in the previous round after coming through qualifying. Gauff's won both their previous meetings, although the last one was 3 years ago. It was in Berlin, and she won 6-love, 6-4. I suspect it might take her a little while to adjust to Berlin, which, last year, the quickest courts on the calendar, bar none. I thought Xinyu Wang might be interesting on the handicap. What do you think?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, the first set might be interesting. I mean, Gauff came here after the French last year, and I think she beat Alexandrova in the first round, 7-6, 6-2. But obviously, that first set took her a little bit of time to sort of get going. So my sort of lean would be I'd be leaning towards a similar sort of outcome. Perhaps Gauff having to find her feet a little bit, but being good to get it done in the end. Like I said, she's obviously had different form over the years coming here, but her first match on the grass, she has been able to get the win in the last few years, whether it be here or in I think it's here the last 2 years she's actually played. So I thought, I'm not sure, first set overs might be kind of a lean there to me. Perhaps I'm not sure what over 9.5 maybe. That would be kind of what I'll be leaning towards. But I think her class will come through, and even though she doesn't have the experience on the grass in a match level just yet, I think her quality will come through.
Yeah, over 9.5 games in the first set is plus 140. So that could be worth it.
Yeah, that would probably be sort of my lean. Obviously, with Zin having obviously played a couple of games, I think she beat Jabeur as well, didn't she? And she must have gotten as a lucky loser, Rory, did she? Because
Jabeur was a lucky
today.
Loser. Yeah, she's come through and actually played very well. But she easily beat Jasmine Paolini, which was that
could be just the break she needs. Because who knows what we might be saying in a few weeks' time if that sort of lucky loser break gets her in and she goes and beats Paolini, and then who knows?
Yeah, it would be great to see Jabeur find some form on the grass, because she's had a pretty miserable season.
Yeah, she must be any price for Wimbledon. I'm not sure what she might be, but she must be. I wouldn't be surprised she's far off 3 figures now. But
no,
we know she can play.
Certainly can. Finalist 2 years ago. Let's check out a couple of men's matches tomorrow. In Halle, Fabian Marozsan up against Tomas Machac. There's been a bit of money for Marozsan. He's now plus 110. Machac is minus 136. And the Czech just secured his second main draw win on grass against Jesper de Jong in round 1. Machac did win their only previous meeting last year in Vienna on hard courts. Are you inclined to take Machac on at that price?
If I was just having a bet on the money line, I'd probably be looking towards Marozsan. Yeah, but the bet I did like here, these two have met once before, and Machac won that on a hard court in Vienna. A tight first set, 7-6, but a 6-1 in the second. But I think Marozsan had played a lot of tennis up to there, And after losing that first set, the kind of second set was like a foregone conclusion. Marozsan, 80% of first serve points he won when he beat Kecmanovic 2-1 in the first round, not holding onto his serve every single time. He wasn't broken at all. And Machac actually won 75% of his first serve points. So the way I looked in here was I quite like the over 10.5 in the first set. I think I saw that was plus 163 when I looked earlier. So yeah, both sort of reasonably good servers on a quick warm weather grass court. Yeah, I was kind of looking to be overs on the first set. Yeah, I think over 10.5 was would look fair to me. And that's, well, if I was going to do two bets if we're going to do chicken and a daily double, those would be the two match we just spoke about. But yeah, that's the way I saw this game. I mean, whether second set, whoever loses it might be looking further down the road perhaps, but I think that first set could be very tight.
Yeah, so over 10.5 games in the first set between Marozsan and Machac at plus 163. And the daily double, that combined with Vondrousova to beat Snahider, pays plus 458. So it's a pretty hefty daily double for tomorrow.
Well, do we getting it in? Because last week our hearts were broken in that daily double. So I mean, he even went on to make the final. So Zizou Bergs, and he couldn't win the first set against Popyrin, unfortunately. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah, it is. But there's a nice daily double for you all tomorrow. We've got one more match to look at. It's also at Halle. Fourth seed Andrey Rublev up against Tomas Martin Etcheverry. One previous meeting last year in Montreal, which Rublev won in straight sets. Although the first set did go to a tie-break, Etcheverry is very much a clay court specialist. His main draw grass record is 3-7. I thought Rublev in straight sets was quite nice. So that'd be minus 117. But I thought, you know, I do like a plus money bet. I thought Rublev on the spread minus 3.5 looked pretty decent to me. What do you reckon, Tim?
Yeah, do you know what, Roy? You've either read my mind or took the words right out of my mouth there. I was going to say exactly the same. I mean, sometimes Rublev can be a little bit inconsistent, so you're never completely sure which one you're going to get. But he looked pretty good to me in his first round match, beating Offner, probably more of a clay court player. But he did look. He served well. I think he served 10 aces. Looked to be moving well on the court to me. And I mean, Etcheverry is known as a clay court player, but he's had a pretty poor clay court season by his standards, and I'm not sure the grass is gonna be saving him in a hurry too quickly. So yeah, I thought the handicap there, I thought Rublev could cover that from when I saw those odds. Yeah.
So there we go. We're in agreement. Rublev plus minus 3.5 games at plus 104. The bet there. So that's our look at tomorrow's action. Before we go back to in-play betting, just to remind you to subscribe to the Betting Weekly newsletter and follow us on social media at Because We Win. And our men's tennis specialist, Sean Calvert, is in seriously hot form at the moment. He picked both finalists in Hertgenbosch at the weekend. Gabriel Diallo winning at $20 against Zizou Bergs, as you mentioned, Tim. It was $40 at the start of the week. And Sean's been cleaning up on the match bets this week as well. So definitely look out for his bets. I think he and Nigel have already looked ahead to some of tomorrow's action on the men's tour on the grass. And of course, we've got Betting Weekly live as well. And obviously, we've got the Soccer's Club World Cup happening at the moment. So back to the in-play action, and not so good news for the home fans at Queen's Club because Dan Evans dropped the first set. Brandon Nakashima took it 7-5, and he's in a little bit of trouble at the start of the second. Nakashima held serve at the start of the second set, and it's 15-30 on the Evans serve, and Evans now $8 to win. Nakashima minus 16.67. So the Brit with plenty on his plate there. Looks like we're going to have a final set tiebreak to decide the match between Liudmila Samsonova and Jessica Pegula in Berlin. Samsonova 40-love, 5-6 in the third set. So one more point and she'll have that into a tiebreak. Samsonova is actually the favourite -125, -105 Pegula, and she has just held serve. It's 6-all. We're into a tiebreak. Samsonova -136 now. Pegula +104. Just saw one of our viewers has got Nakashima to win in straight sets, so he'll be cheering on the American there. I don't know if we can just see that come up again, but Nakashima to win in straight set. That's Mark Mint there. 2-love straight sets at +120, so that could be going in for you, Mark.
Yeah, 30 all on serve there, so that could be here and now. Mark could be fairly hopeful with that, I think.
Yeah, I think Evans had a really good win. Was it yesterday? Yeah,
beat CFO,
yeah. Yeah, it looks like he's struggling here, and Mark's saying Evans is fade material at this point. I don't know. He's certainly in the twilight of his career, and he can dig himself out of perilous situations. We've seen him do it in the past before, but yeah, he's got plenty on his plate against Nakashima here. So that is at Queen's Club. The other match going on right now, and Samsonova is an even hotter favourite now because she's got the mini break right at the start of the tie break. 1-love for Samsonova, -230, Pegula +170. So the defending champion could be on her way out. And in Nottingham, Leylah Fernandez 4-1 up on Christina Buxa. Fernandez -625 and Buxa +410. Evans has just gone 40-30, so he's hanging in there, the Briton, but Nakashima winning the first set, and he's in charge there. Some of the action earlier today, Tim. We mentioned Jabeur beating Paolini. That was a shock. Paula Badosa got the better of Emma Navarro. It's funny because last year Badosa knocked out Karolina Mukova in round 1. And I was really impressed because she served big and she looked, and obviously she's had so many injury problems, but I thought Badosa looked really good, and she's beaten a good player in Emma Navarro. And I'd never had her down as a grass court player, but the stuff I've seen over the last couple of years makes me think, she could be all right on this surface, and she's someone to watch perhaps over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, she needs to string a few games together. I remember watching her at Wimbledon last year. I think she lost a marathon match to the Kazakhstan, or maybe I can't remember if she won or lost that marathon match with Kazakhstan, but obviously a good victory for her against. She just needs to string a few games together, doesn't she, and stay fit. And 1 minute you see she's cured of these back problems, and then the next minute she's injured somewhere else. It'll be interesting now because she will play the winner of the Gauff match, so there's every chance she might be playing Coco Gauff in the next round. So you'll get a real feel for where she is in the grass there, you'd think, and perhaps she'll be confident of taking on Gauff as long as Gauff does win today, and with only 1 match under her belt, and hopefully she's finding a bit of form for herself. But there's no reason why she couldn't play well on grass. And if we get this weather that we've got in the UK at the moment, for those of you that aren't here, obviously you're not, Rory, but it's mid to high 20s and glorious sunshine every day at the moment here. So, if that continues for Wimbledon, it's going to be different from the Wimbledons we've seen before. Because you can see the courts at Queen's of just how dry it is here at the minute.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to carry on like that for Wimbledon.
Well, exactly. The rain must be waiting for the first Monday, mustn't it? But
exactly.
We can live in hope.
We can. No, bound to be rain at Wimbledon. There always is. That's why they've got the roof on centre and number 1. I'm really looking forward to seeing, Sabalenka. We're waiting for the end of Samsonova Pegula, see how Sabalenka copes against Masarova. That should be interesting because, as I say, Masarova is a big server. And then we've got Coco Gauff tomorrow. So it's all very exciting. In terms of Wimbledon, Berlin, we've got 9 of the top 10 women in the world. Iga Swiatek is the only absentee, which, I suspect, she might not go to Wimbledon with any grass court warm-up, as she has done in the past. Who would be your idea of the women's winner at Wimbledon at the moment?
And well, I think the value's probably gone out of it now, but I've been a fan of Sabalenka. It's, I'm not going to get rich backing her now or stating the obvious of it really, but sort of, I think in about sort of Australian Open time after that, she's about 7-2 in the UK, so plus 450. I think she was probably
plus 350.
350, sorry, for Wimbledon, because obviously I think you can pretty much put a line through Swiatek at Wimbledon. And certainly at the moment, I think if she wasn't winning Wimbledon when she was in a brilliant clay court days and world number one days, then I don't see why she's going to start playing well on grass now. So where you'd have sort of plus 350 about her and Iga would be a similar sort of price, you can put a line, like I said, I think you can put a line through her, and then that leaves you with a few different players. But it'd be interesting because she obviously missed last year with a shoulder injury. I think the year before, did she lose to Angers in the semis?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Was that a couple of years ago? Anyway, and then obviously she wasn't allowed to play when Rebeka won it because she was Belarusian. And so even though she's probably obviously the best she's ever been is perhaps right now, or perhaps last year, like you say, when she missed it with a shoulder injury. So for me, again, a little bit stating the obvious, but I'm keen on Sabalenka. Whether that value's probably gone out of her price now, I think she's probably plus 250-ish now. That could be the case. And obviously you look at lots of different winners. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, can you get Tatiana Maria? I mean, something like that happening again.
That was interesting. I mean, she's $250, Maria.
She's probably better off. The worst player she plays, she's got more chance of beating a big power hitter, isn't she, than she has of beating, I don't know, world number 80. Like Christina Buxer might give her troubles. Do you know what I mean? That kind of player. But whereas an elite level player hitting the ball as hard as they can, perhaps that's what she likes. But so yeah, I mean, a little bit unadventurous, but yeah, Sabalenka for me at the moment. I mean, I'm not sure. What do you think, Roy? What are your thoughts?
Sabalenka's plus 240, which I think is short enough. I mean, when I was talking with Nigel on the show, on the podcast, she's never won a grass court tournament. She's reached a couple of finals and lost in both. It
was interesting what she said about the, because obviously she had that moment where she was interviewed immediately after the French Open and said some things she probably regretted. And I think she came out with a statement yesterday saying, almost like saying exactly that, she regretted it. But it is difficult for these players. They have a microphone shoved in their face at
exactly
5 minutes after the event. But she did say that she let her emotions get the better of her, and she was questioning why she keeps losing all these finals. And I think maybe that's starting to register with her now. So that could stand her in good stead going forwards. But yeah, we'll see. But sorry, I interrupted you there about who you liked.
No, I think, even though she's a lot more mentally resilient than she used to be, because she did used to be quite flaky, there's still a question mark, isn't there? We saw in that French Open final, we saw in the Australian Open final, there is still, when the chips are down and the pressure's on, she can falter. And I think that would worry me. I'm looking at the rest of the betting. Rebeka is now second favourite at $5. Coco Gauff $6. Swiatek's now double figures, $10. Andrey is $11. Keys $14. I mean, I did back Keys quite a long time ago. I just hope she plays a bit better than she did yesterday. If she does, I think she could go deep. I don't know.
Rebeka is interesting, isn't she? I mean, I saw her at Queen's and I saw her practicing in the morning. She just looked so miserable with life. It's just like, she just looked not uninterested, but just yeah. All that you saw, lots of players. Anisimova, for example, Emma Navarro, happy and smiling. It just looked a chore to her. And obviously she's got some off the court issues. Quite what they are, I doubt we're really going to get to the bottom of them. But
no,
there's clearly issues there.
Yeah, but for all that, she did manage to win in Strasbourg before the French Open. She did win a title there. She looked good at Roland Garros. Then Swiatek produced that amazing comeback against her. So she ran into Maria last week, who's a unique player on the tour, you might say. So lightning probably wouldn't strike twice there. If she's fit and she's serving well, she's got a chance. And John Swart says Samsonova. It's funny because
Samsonova just winning, or maybe for Wimbledon as well, because he could be right on where she's obviously just won, but maybe Wimbledon's on her radar too.
Well, funnily enough, when Samsonova won, she's won an absolute epic. It was final set tiebreak there. When Samsonova won the Berlin in 2021, she was the sort of the Shrewdies pick for Wimbledon. So many people decided to back her, and she didn't get very far. I think she went off at about 10-1, that sort of price. But she was heavily backed in the run up to Wimbledon, and she's a really good server. We know that. It can be a bit off at times. Berlin's very quick. Wimbledon isn't quite as quick, which would probably count against her. I don't know.
The conditions will play a part, won't they, Rory? Because obviously, like we said, whether this weather will continue or not, but if it is like this for a fortnight of Wimbledon, then that's something we haven't seen for the last probably 5-6 years, isn't it?
Yeah. No. Then you could get a surprise.
Conditions.
Yeah. On the men's side, you've got Alcaraz and Sinner plus 150 joint favourites. Djokovic $6. Draper $11. It's $25 bar those. Have you got any sort of long range efforts for the men's event, or do you think it's between the big two?
It's difficult to see past them, isn't it? You'd probably be looking at when the draw comes out, perhaps doing quarter betting, trying to find a bit of value there, because it looks almost certain that those two are going to get to the very minimum the semis, and obviously the odds suggest the final, and that's going to shock nobody. So I would probably wait till the draw comes out and try and find a bit of value in the quarter betting. Would probably be my way of looking at it as a players to look at. Shelton, sometimes he looked okay in Holland last week, but as obviously whether he's just a bit fatigued at Queen's this week and he's bombed out early. Taylor Fritz, maybe similar sort of story, looked good. I think I was amazed he got it to as far as he did yesterday after being broken in the first game of that third set. So I thought full credit to him to actually do that. So maybe Taylor Fritz perhaps would be my guy looking at a big price of going quite far. But I think as far as trying to find a bet goes with value, it's like you say, 25-1 bar the two. You're probably going to find it looking at a quarter betting, I'd imagine, when you see the draw.
Yeah, Taylor Fritz, $33 for Wimbledon, and just saw a message come up there. First leg of Nigel's daily double, the Samsonova, and Nigel's actually tipped Samsonova outright for Berlin because she was a very juicy $50 at the start of the week, which we both thought was amazing because last week she was the favourite in Hertogenbosch. She was like $3 or $3.50, and first round exit there. She goes $50 for, a stronger tournament in Berlin. But it did seem quite a big overreaction. And now she's got past the first two rounds. She's knocked out the defending champion. She's going to have every chance now.
Yeah, I think she will play the winner of Freck and Anisimova, I think. So that'll be, certainly if it's Anisimova, that'll be a good game to watch. There'll be plenty of baseline rallies there. Good power hitting.
Yeah. If you were a tennis ball, you'd be wincing with those two smacking the ball about. Just to bring you up to date before we go on the live action in play, Dan Evans hanging on, I think it's fair to say, in the second set. He's on juice at 1-2 in the second set. Evans $7. Nakashima, Nakashima now has break point. That would be to go 3-1 up. Nakashima minus $20 now, and Evans plus $9.50. Fernandez 4-2 up on Buxa in Nottingham, and of course over in Berlin. We're just about to get started with Aryna Sabalenka against Rebeka Masarova. Tim, let's just remind everyone of your daily double. But first, see, Mr. P has Sabalenka to win in straight sets at minus 210. Looks a bit short to me, especially first match on grass, but her class probably will tell. Tim, your daily double.
It's Marketa Vondrousova to beat Diana Schneider at plus 112. And the second part of the parlay is Marozsan versus Tomas Machac, first set over 10.5 games at +163.
So there you go. And that daily double pays +458. So it's a very juicy daily double. Good luck if you're backing that. That's all from us at Betting Weekly Tennis Live. Thanks again, Tim, as always. And
thank you, Rory. Cheers, guys.
See you again next week. Mitch Michaels and Dustin Fox will be back next Monday. But from all of us here, have a very good rest of your day.